I'm Jason Cook. With over 20 years of experience as a professional trainer, coach, and clinician in the equine industry, I've had the privilege of dedicating thousands of hours to perfecting my craft. Now I'm excited to share my expertise with you through this podcast. We will explore some of my past experiences as well as those of other individuals to provide you with a wealth of knowledge and insights to enhance your journey. Whether you are a novice or an experienced horseman, this podcast will offer valuable perspectives to help you achieve success. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry to leave you guys hanging on the last episode. Clay and I's conversation was a little bit long, and I decided to break it up into two parts. I hope you enjoy the second half, where we will touch on everything from picking the right horse to coaching youth and amateurs. And don't forget, your feedback, questions, and topic or guest suggestions for future episodes are always welcome. You can reach us at changingeyespodcast@gmail.com. That's changingeyespodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy. So for new ropers getting into it, whether young or old, or it doesn't matter their age or anything. So what's a good, I mean, you give a lot of lessons here. You stay busy with it all the time, and then you're gone most weekends to a rodeo of some sort, yes. Whether it be I'll call it schooling rodeo or competitive, whatever you're wanting to do. So what's a piece of advice to someone wanting to either get their kids involved or them themselves get involved, even if they're 30, 40 years old, it doesn't matter. What's a good way to start, and what's some advice, even if they're near or far or whatever?
Well, one of the things I tell a lot of parents, if it's kids wanting to get into it, first off, this costs a lot. Mm-hmm. It does. You can take, if somebody's coming to us from Joplin, and Joplin's 60 miles that way, mm-hmm. Branson's 50 miles this way. Mm-hmm. So there's 110 miles difference. Mm-hmm. Anybody can do it if you're willing to work at it. But as a parent looking, and Mindy and I don't have kids, but we've had over 40 kids live with us now. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of have an idea of what's going on. But for what this cost, you can go to Top of the Rock, buy a yearly membership, drive there 3 times a week, and it's going to be cheaper than doing this.
Yeah, and Top of the Rock is a resort.
Top of the Rock's a resort, PGA course.
Yes.
You know.
Celebrities come in and out of there.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right.
To parents, and I've seen this over and over, when you have to tell your child to put the rope down, we've got stuff to do, mm-hmm. that kid loves it. Mm-hmm. You have to love this. Mm-hmm. It's too frustrating. It's too hard. You know me. I've played every sport there is, mm-hmm. besides curling or ice sports. I mean, I've snowboarded, wakeboarded, golfed, bowled. I had a bowling ball with my name on it. Yeah. Carried it in this leather bag. Yeah. Shot shotguns, archery, everything. If they don't love it, other stuff, you know, we had a boy, one of the, there's a lot of kids that stick out that have came to us over the years. For one, the Appletons, mm-hmm. love them to death, do anything in the world for them. Glenn Scott, mm-hmm. what a good guy. Mm-hmm. Can flank a 500-pounder. Yes. I've seen it.
Yes, he's a big old boy.
Stout as Knox. The Appletons, Dawson and Mason, man, would do anything in the world for them boys. Jake Holmes came to us. Jake, love him to death. Actually let him ride Archie the other day at a rodeo. And you and I touched on this the other day talking. And in what we do, it means more to me that as a person, those kids leave here a better person. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not their mom. Mm-hmm. I'm not their dad. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stuff. My dad is the very best man I know.
Yeah.
He is. He's my dad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any of this if it wasn't for my dad being there in some way, shape, or form. And plus my mom. My mom's a saint. Mm-hmm. She'll, Mindy and I, second best is my in-laws. Mm-hmm. We hold the door for women. Mm-hmm. We, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. It's respect. If somebody doesn't think it's respect, I'm sorry. It's the way I was raised. And the kids that come here and stay with us, man, Jake Holmes the other night rides Archie. I forget my halter up at the arena because I'm riding Archie back. I get back and we get in the truck and Mindy goes, Jake unsaddled my horse. When you're in our group or our circle, nobody unboots their horse by themselves. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if it's John Cole or Sladen or Trevor or Mindy or anybody. And I think that's a lost. If you want to be successful at this, you've got to be humble enough that you've got to be a decent person. Mm-hmm. And whether that makes sense or not, mm-hmm. It's the most trying to be successful at it. And I'm not near around here fairly successful. Mm-hmm. With your help. Let me rephrase that. With Mindy's help and with your help on getting in shape, mm-hmm. I've had more success in the last 3 years than I ever had.
It definitely makes a difference. It helps more than just your physical appearance.
Yes.
It's between your ears, yes. too. Yeah.
Yes, mentally.
And it takes a lot of discipline. It's really hard.
Yes.
Older you get, it's even harder.
Yes. Yes.
How old are you now?
43.
43, and I just turned 47.
And I rope against guys every weekend that are 18 to, let's say, 33, 34. Mm-hmm. There's a few of us that are over 40. Mm-hmm. Man, the stuff I've done in the last 3 years, I wish I'd have done in my 20s. Mm-hmm. I wish I'd have been like you. I thought one time I showed up at your house and I thought you were eating sour cream straight out of the deal. I'm like, what is that? What's Greek yogurt? Well, I thought, I'll go get me some Greek yogurt. I wish it was sour cream. It was horrible. Yeah. I spit that stuff out and said, this ain't worth it.
Yeah. But you have to take care of your body, and I'm not a nutritionist or a fitness trainer or anything like that. But you can, there's a lot of information out there that you can feel better, do better, know better, do better.
Yes.
And just try to be a little better, and you'll thank yourself, and your body will thank you. And the older you get, the more important it is. It's very much more important. Yes.
I mean, at 40, I guess 41, I literally got in the best shape I'd ever been in. Mm-hmm. Now, I've kind of laxed right now, and I know I'm the type of person that I'm not a huge motivational speech person. Mm-hmm. I'm more about, I know I can do this. Mm-hmm. And that's hard sometimes. I want the kids here or the people that come for lessons to know, yes, you are capable of doing this. Mm-hmm. And something you've taught me and helped me with is small goals. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of small goals to reach a big goal.
It does.
And if you only have that big goal, mm-hmm. the odds of achieving it are very, very slim. Mm-hmm. And that's everything from working out to riding a horse to, in life, I believe human nature is we always want more. Mm-hmm. And when dealing with a horse, you got to be very understanding.
Yes.
This horse does not speak English.
No, he don't read either. He didn't read your list that you come out there with.
Exactly.
And your agenda.
Yes.
You see, a lot of people are very agenda focused, and I've found like really competent, very intelligent, successful people mm-hmm. can be some of the hardest ones to teach the horsemanship to, because they're very A plus B equals C, mm-hmm. and they're formula oriented, like an engineer.
Yes.
Or someone who, in engineering, you learn the method and the formulas, and you plug in the variance, and then you get the product.
Yes.
And in horses, it doesn't work like that, and it changes all the time. We dealt with a really bad one this morning over there. I told you, and we're putting the first ride on it. And when I say really bad, I don't mean the worst I've ever seen, but it was different, and it took some special attention. And we kind of made a game plan, and I had a pretty good idea on what that horse was going to do when it was mounted. But all I did was try to prep it in a way that I knew we could manage what it did. It wouldn't be so bad that we couldn't make the whistle or help it.
Yes.
Because that thing was going to have trouble, but I just wanted it to be able to make it and everybody be safe.
Yes.
And that's hard. It takes a lot of experience to say, okay, what more than likely is going to happen right here? Not that you want it to, but you just kind of try to manage it a little bit, because they're a big animal. And if they want to do anything, they'll do anything they want to do. You can't stop them.
No.
So it's better off just to go with the river.
Yes.
Try to a little bit.
It is. And just take that oar and try to steer a little bit one way.
Yes. Yes. Take the energy and direct it, in a way that benefits you. So on these young people getting into it, and I think we spoke about this yesterday or the day before. I talked to you on the phone, and the cheapest thing they'll ever buy is a horse.
Yes.
But it's the most expensive at the time, and they'll think it's the most. They say, "Oh my gosh," And right now horses are high. But for instance, an 18-year-old horse, costing now $15,000-$20,000.
Yes.
But if you take care of him and maintenance him, even if you got 3 to 5 years.
Yes.
Worth
every penny.
Every penny of it. And it's really hard to get people to understand that for youth. We deal with it every day. Just on someone wanting a general riding horse, or someone says, hey, my daughter wants the riding lesson, so they take them a while. And they said, okay, she wants to do barrels, because everybody's barrel racing. And they don't need the fast horse.
No.
They need the sound, sane horse, even if he lopes the pattern.
Yes.
And that horse is going to cost something. Because why? Because it's been there, done that. And he's not the fastest anymore. He's not the most sound anymore. But we can get him comfortable, and he can have a good time, and we can have a good time. But that horse right there, you're going to spend some money on, or you can go spend $2,500 or less on one that you think you're going to go have fun on. And normally what I see mostly is not even people getting hurt, really. It's that people quit.
Yes.
They're done. They're frustrated. They're done. And what it is their first wrong is going to make the good things not come.
Yes.
And they've set themselves up behind the 8 ball is what they've done. And that's very, very hard to do, to get people to do. Buy once, cry once.
Yes.
In the beginning. And yes, like you said, it's expensive. Right off the bat, we told you it's expensive. But if they want to have fun and be safe, you've got to pay that up front and get that horse that'll take care of them. Because it's all about the horse teaching them in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And if you buy a horse that you think you're going to learn together on, it
won't happen.
It don't work like that. Because you buy a horse that's green and doesn't understand, and then you take someone who doesn't know how to train one and put them on there, the horse will ride down to their level.
Yes.
That's how it works.
Yes.
The horse rides to whoever's on its level.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. I find a lot of horses, having helped the kids that we do. Uh-huh. It's funny. There's a little pain horse that started with Jake Holmes. Mm-hmm. And he has went through, 5 or 6 kids now that we help. And when somebody, we want to typically find the horse, first level horse is just going to take care of everybody. Mm-hmm. Go have fun. Is probably not going to do stuff the very best.
It don't stop real hard. It don't work a lot of rope.
It may not even stop.
Yeah.
It may just slow down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what people need. That's what. Now the second horse helped some people find one last week. A little boy we give lessons to, been coming religiously once a week for 2 years. The little boy couldn't walk and swing a rope when he showed up. Super proud of him now. He's to his second horse. Well, so we try to find them, and we don't sell a lot of horses. We don't. We ride some outside horses, have our own. I will tell you, not only the horse industry hasn't built this place. Everything we do with my folks, from the hay to raising French bulldogs to the horses, it's a lot like being it's a lot like any self-employment. Unless you have a necessity, you got to have multiple things working in your corner. But so this little boy, they're looking for a horse, and it's going to be a pretty good chunk of money for the next level horse. Well, we go and try to find the horse that is a little bit too much, like a level or two above. But when somebody calls me and says, hey, we're looking for a horse, I'll go to looking. And 9 times out of 10, I will not be looking on the internet. It's a friend, it's an acquaintance, it's somebody that I know that I've seen ride the horse multiple times.
Yes.
And then so we're looking for that horse that's a couple levels ahead, but will come down to that kid's level. That way we've got that 3 to 5 years. Because kids do, whether we like it or not, if they love it and they're willing to listen and put the time in, they excel fast.
Yeah, they're little sponges.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, excel very fast. And excel on horsemanship, roping, the mind part of it. I think one of the hardest things for adults to understand about this, we're almost too smart. Meaning, we want it right now. A kid goes out here and blacks out and doesn't even touch the calf. An hour later, you talk to them about it, and they don't care. It's done. It's over with. That, to me, has been a very hard thing in my career, is learning how to deal with failure. Nobody wants failure to happen, but it does. And learning how to, I've literally went from stewing on it for days to now 90% of the time I can walk. By the time I turn my horse around after they've untied the calf, or I'm coiling my rope up because I've missed, I'm over it. I think you and I talked about it at one point. The longer we stew on the last one, the more it takes away from the next one. And so this is mentally challenging. But so back to this. I'm sorry. I'll take you down as many rabbit holes as you better be a good rabbit hunter with me, because we're going to go down some. But so this little boy comes over. Alls I want to see is if the horse will come down to his level, leaving the box. They've been pro rodeoing on the horse, amateur rodeo and everything. Sure enough, I can tell when he rides the horse in the box and turns around, hey, this will be successful. The people brought the horse to me. I rode him a day. Most of the time I do it longer than a day, but that kid that has been riding him, that owned him, had came over and stayed with us, and so I watched the horse quite a bit. The little boy goes out there, rides him across the line, brings his rope up, goes back to that cue, leans out. What does a good horse do? Stops. Little boy goes Superman, flying through the air while swinging the rope. A lot of people would have looked at it and said, oh my gosh, he's too much horse. He fell off. You know how many times I fell off?
Yeah.
That bay standing over there, I fell off him twice the first day.
Yeah, I remember.
Intimidation, buddy.
Yeah.
At 43, fall off twice, and that's no rope, no anything.
No, that's just riding him.
That's pure athleticism. Jump out from under you. And so we work on the little boy, because I can see that the horse is what what the people need. Man, they ride him that week. They come back last week and ride him again. Completely different, because that little boy took it upon himself to, hey, this is what I'm going to go and do. Not, if I don't do it wrong, this is going to happen. Or if I do it wrong, this is going to happen. He told himself, and with me standing there saying, hey, I want to see you do this, this, and this. Took his mind off the horse, took his mind off the falling off. We went and accomplished it. Tied some down on him, bought the horse, and I truly believe it'll go on. Everybody willing, it'll go on and be a very successful deal.
And that horse sounds like one that, like in my string of horses that we show and stuff, there's horses we ride up and then show them.
Yes.
There's horses that we ride down and show him, like Rotel.
Yes.
You rode him down and then showed him and competed on him. And we have other horses that are more of a asking questions horses, and we have to ride them up and get them sharp and show them. And it seems like that horse was perfect because it will ride down to the kid's level. And pretty soon, what a PRCA guy going down the road might seem as sloppy, it'll be just perfect for that kid.
Yes.
And that's what you got to do. I think you got to match something up that's perfect for where you're at. Yes. Maybe just a smidgen above you, just a little bit to have you reach. And so many people, though, they get them to where the horse needs training. So when if they were to come take lessons from you, they'll be in a hodgepodge of now, and they're taking the horse home. You have to teach them how to be a horse trainer and learn how to rope, and that's too much.
Yes, and that's a hard thing. That's something
I have to deal with it all the time.
It's something I've even asked you. I've called you and said, hey, when you sell a horse, do you feel like you've got to train the person? And you're like, every time.
Yeah. You have to introduce them and be the liaison between the two.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're and not this in a bad way at all, but you sell somebody a horse, you're married to that horse. Like, I feel that way. My personality is, if the horse doesn't work, it's my fault. If I've gotten way better with your help, with Mindy's help, with us just talking about it. Did the horse do that with you? And the thing that I really like is when somebody calls and says, hey, I bought this horse. Can you tell me how you had him working?
Yes.
The way you did.
Yes.
Yes, I can. 20 years ago, when I was 19, 20 years old, I couldn't have told you. He works this way because we bought him this way. I had a great talk with Trevor the other day was looking for a breakaway horse. And Trevor put it to me in the terms when I said, how does this girl rope? Trevor put it to me in the terms of, she ropes really good. Do I think she can make a horse better? No. That's, and there's a lot of people that way. But if we want to contain what we've bought, we've got to understand what to do to contain it or to make it better.
Because they're impressionable.
Very.
They're not like a four-wheeler. You don't just go out and get on it, and it's just how you left it yesterday.
Yes.
And that is a hard thing for people to get over.
It is.
It's and we have to be really good about explaining that to people because they don't understand that. And they think they've done their part often by, hey, we bought this good horse. We went and bought it. We did it. We done the formula.
Yes.
Why is it not doing what it's supposed to be doing? Well, because I tell people, if I can get on it in 5 minutes and make it better, you can get on it and in 5 minutes make it worse.
Yes.
But if it takes me 2 or 3 days to make it better, well, it's going to stay better longer for you.
Yes.
Because it's not as impressionable.
Yes. Yes.
It takes longer.
And that kind of goes back to what Mindy and I have talked about over and over. With the horse market the way it is, with more good horses being bred. In my eyes, what are good horses? Mm-hmm. And you and I, not that we would ever argue about it, but you want different things out of a horse than I want.
Sure.
But the brains, the intelligence, the brokenness that we're getting horses in now, kids these days need to be learning how to ride first.
They do. They need to spend a lot of time in the saddle.
And ride and learn what makes a horse work. Meaning, like, I tell everybody, I get on one and I'll go out here and spend 20 minutes loping, stopping, turning, half passing, side passing, rolling back, disengaging the hindquarters, feeling what makes that horse work. When I've felt everything I need in a run, then I can go out here and rope on it, and that horse either stays the same or gets better, because I can either stay out of his way or I can help him in other situations. And if he's not helpable, I believe that's what you would call it. If he's not helpable, if I pick up to get him to come back to me, and he just gaps his mouth open and goes, well, guess what? How long does it typically take to get them to do that?
Yeah.
How long did it take to get them to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the, I also feel like we've had a lot of horses through here that, having been blessed to ride what we have, whether we owned them or they were somebody else's, at times I've asked for more than they were capable of. Mm-hmm. I can't go run a marathon right now. Mm-hmm. A horse can't go run. Certain horses can't go run a marathon. I don't know how many laps you're doing in lunges right now. I'm going to say you get me 100 yards of a 400-yard track, and I'm done on the lunges.
Yeah.
I can't. Learning when to ask or how much to ask has been a struggle for me at times.
Well, that's normal. That's normal for all of us. I mean, I fight the same thing. I think any good trainer striving to be better would be lying if they said any different, because you're always wanting the next horse to be better than the last horse. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't even know what kind of talent the next horse has, but barring they had the equal talent, we would still want them to be better.
Yes.
And it all comes down to efficiency and clarity to the horse, because they will try, and they're all different personalities, every one of them. And that's another thing you have to have enough experience to recognize. They're all different. Mm-hmm. But it's quite a journey, and it's a rewarding one. I love it. I'm living the dream, riding and training horses, and I know you are too.
Yes.
I mean, you love what you do, and having the kids. There's 3 boys here out there right now. They're probably wondering what to do, because they're trying to find enough stuff to keep them busy where they look busy.
They're looking like that 2-year-old that's searching.
Yeah.
Right there, searching.
Yeah, searching.
You've taught me searching on a horse, and I'm telling you what, you be around people enough. Uh-huh. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about horses, and they're searching, like 3 of them to run one water wagon.
Yeah, they were all 3 riding on the 4-wheeler a while ago.
Yeah,
like a bunch of little girls holding hands.
Hey, one thing I really want us to touch on, and they must have heard us, because there they go.
Yeah.
But in this industry, you have to be very forgiving.
Yes.
To yourself, to the horse, to just situations.
To ignorance.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's not arrogance, and sometimes it's misconstrued. Because we all are currently and will continue to be ignorant on things.
Yes.
But man, we don't want to be arrogant on it. And I think a lot of people are just ignorant on something, and people handle it as if they were arrogant, and that's really not fair. And
yes.
And we gotta remember we had to learn this too.
Yes.
And because I met you riding with my toes down with a pair of tennis shoes on a yellow horse.
Yes. And now we go from that to you have been for the last 10 years my number one mentor on all of this. If it wasn't for you, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of other people involved. But when it comes to a horse and the mind of a horse, none of us are ever too good to learn. You know, I know you go out and spend time with Nick.
I do. I come back and feel like I need to quit my job and start sacking groceries because he's such a master. And he has mentors.
And I talk to you, and man, there's times I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? You know what I mean? Like,
well, the interesting thing in horses is this, and when we talk, or if I go to Nick's or any mentor, the unique thing about horsemanship is as it advances, the simplicity increases.
Yes.
And so with, say, in mathematics, you start at basic math, and as it advances, it gets more complicated. Trigonometry, calculus, so on. Okay. In horsemanship, it's different. We start it at like trigonometry.
Hey, I it's so funny you say this. I've had this talk for the last 6 months with people, especially and hey, parents that's listening to this, your child needs to thank you.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
You are here for them. If you're hauling your kid up and down the road. But I do want you to understand that this is a process. And I don't know. I need to sit down and study it before I sound even more ignorant than I am. But I tell them, we've skipped a step. This is no different than math. And it's so funny you said that, because in my eyes, and I'm not going to say I was some scholar, because I was not at all, but in my eyes, it probably goes basic math, pre-algebra,
Algebra 1, 2,
Algebra
geometry.
2, geometry. Then do we throw college algebra in there?
Probably, and then you got trig and calc.
And calc. A lot of people that I see, and I'm as bad as anybody. I've brushed on basic math. Why in the hell can't I figure out Algebra 2?
Yes.
Well, guess what? There's pre-algebra and there's Algebra 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why am I struggling at this? And I'm not telling everybody to come up to me or come up to you, but one reason I feel that I've had, and it's such a small level compared to a lot of people, but the reason I've had the success I have is because I haven't been afraid to ask. Not that, and I don't care who it is. You, Chris Dawson. There's a guy, Jim Jerkowski, that's shown in the Appaloosa deal for years. Man, I ask him questions. How'd you get that horse to do that? Or even, hey, I'm struggling with Archie on this. You know, I look at the cow horse guys. Those guys are doing 3 events.
They are.
In one. 3 events. I'm doing 1 event. And if we rope steers, it is so close to, all except for heeling. And my heeling, it has its days. But 3 events, and I'm asking for 1. Why wouldn't I go to somebody that much better and try to learn?
Well, it saves time.
Yes.
It's like people that's worked for me. If they can't go on and be better than me, then how good's my teaching?
Yes.
Because what I had to learn through eating bologna and cheese sandwiches and basically letting horses teach me, because I only worked for one person for probably 2.5 years, and that's it. The rest of it, horses really taught me. And then the fact that I had to get it done with whatever you dropped off.
Yes.
You know, and so why not go and get more help? And that's one thing. People ask, would you change it? Well, yes and no. You know, I've learned there's a lot that's been good out of it, But if you could get with someone, 2 to 4 years, whatever it is, you will learn so much. If you're wanting to do it, it will save time.
Yes.
It's just like if you want to learn to rope, don't buy a 2-year-old.
Yes.
You won't save time. If you want to learn how to rope now,
yes,
go buy an 18-year-old, 16, whatever it is, that's good and solid, so you can work on you. And ask. You mentioned about asking advice. There's 2 things. You have to be humble enough to ask advice. And the second thing that's tough, this is really hard, and that's knowing to differentiate the difference in bad counsel and good counsel.
Yes.
And that's hard.
Yes.
And because a lot of people won't ask for help, and that's one problem. I look at that as one problem. And then there's people who just ask everybody. Mm-hmm. And they're willing to get information from everybody, and that doesn't help you either necessarily, especially if it's contradictory.
Too many coaches.
You see this a lot in the horsemanship world. It's not that any trainer is better than the other trainer. It's that to take one piece of his, sometimes you have to take the whole thing so it makes sense to the horse.
Yes.
And then this other trainer trains it a different way to make sense to the horse. And you can add and kind of collage it all together, but so many people, and they go and get advice from people who it's just not good advice. It's not sound advice, and that causes a lot of problems because they thought they were doing right because they were open-minded. They didn't have pride. They went and asked, but they kind of got led down a wrong track.
One of the best things you've told me, and I know you told it to me because I was struggling helping people, and because my personality is I want to help everybody, and we all have. Nobody has any more or any less, but we've all struggled at this. Mm-hmm. And my personality is I don't want to see somebody go through what I did. Mm-hmm. Because I've had very trying times. Mm-hmm. It's my personality. If it's something big, I'm a pretty. Don't get me wrong. You may pull up here, and there may be all of us out here doing push-ups. Learn that one from you. Push-ups cure a lot of things. But I'm a very caring, probably at times over-caring person. And I was struggling with seeing somebody struggle, even if I didn't know them, go up to them and say, hey, would you just go home and try this? Go home and do this. Mm-hmm. And stick with it, and you'll get results. And then Mindy and I one summer did a daily lesson. It was, truth be told, it was to help people. Plus, it was on this day we do lessons. We don't saddle anything. It was solely about the people showing up. And, man, I struggled because I was helping people or thought I was helping people. And they'd show up the next week, or the person at the rodeo that I didn't even know, that I wanted to be a nice guy, and I went up and said, hey, try this. Well, then the next time I seen them, I could tell. It went in one ear and out the other, and it bothered me. Mm-hmm. And this helped me 2 ways. When you told me, hey, you're going to learn that unless they ask or they're paying, keep your mouth shut. And that was for my personality. I don't feel like you would probably tell that to everybody, mm-hmm. but it was for my personality. Well, that did help me learn. And it's still a work in progress because I like to talk, and mm-hmm. It's not at all that I like to hear myself talk. I like to talk because I hate seeing people struggle. Mm-hmm. It also taught me how, okay, this person's showing up for themselves and they want to legitimately get better. Mm-hmm. This person's showing up because mom and dad want them to get better.
Yes.
And until that single person wants to get better, they're not going to listen.
Right.
They're not going to. I one day was helping a mom and her son, both of them roped. Well, the son didn't want anything to do with calf roping. You could see it plain as day. I mean, Ray Charles could see it if he was standing here.
Uh-huh.
The mom got better and better and better and better every time she showed up. Like, she went from, oh, man, watch her in the run. Oh, man, oh, gosh, to holy cow, yes, great job. And the son was more flexible, more athletic, but he didn't want to.
Yeah.
And used to that kid, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what he wanted. And that kid, great kid, good a kid as you'll ever meet, but he didn't want to do it. He was there because of mom. Mm-hmm. And, this is, you can't read this out of a book. I feel like, and for what he did, we're still on the advice of what you would give people. You and I have a very good mutual friend. Uh-huh. He lived with Mindy and I, and then he came to work for you. Uh-huh. Quite possibly one of the most intelligent people I've ever met.
Yes.
If you could teach calf oping out of a book, he wouldn't be getting bit by a dog. He wouldn't be bird hunting. He wouldn't be training walking horses. He wouldn't be doing anything but winning gold buckles roping. Mm-hmm. That's his personality, and I love him to death. Josh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But his personality at the time, I didn't, and I've went back and apologized to him. Uh-huh. Mindy and I know kids. Josh and Justin Payne come to live with us. Uh-huh. And another boy, 2 18-year-olds and a 16-year-old. Man, I wanted it my way. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand the forgiveness. I even went back and said, hey, look, I even said to parents, you've dealt with your kids their whole life. Mm-hmm. I haven't. Every flaw they've had, so little Timmy went and did this, and to you, to me, it's huge. Mm-hmm. I think horses are the same way.
They are.
And when I learned to be more forgiving,
a lot of empathy.
A lot of empathy.
And I see it in trainers, teachers, new clinicians. They start the job, and maybe they've been in it just a handful of years, and they have some success, and they've never had success. Mm-hmm. And now they've got people actually paying them for lessons and doing things. And I see them they get pretty confident with it. And then because I did this, not careful, you become a Bobby Knight style teacher. It's just, I'm going to make them do it. And I'm going to yell at them.
Yes.
And and not that you can't do any of that, but you're more forceful.
Yes.
Okay. And what that is you've lost the empathy that maybe 3 years ago you were in the same spot they were.
Yes.
Only 3 years ago. And you think, well, I wouldn't have wanted to be coached like that. Now, everybody's different, just like every horse. Some horses need a firm hand. Mm-hmm. Some, you need to pet them a lot.
Yes.
You need to pet them a lot. Yeah. Yeah, there's some right over here. And you have to identify that really quick, because we're training personalities in people and in horses pretty fast. And it's simple, but it's not.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, it's simple, but it's not. But
and I would like to anybody that listens to this, I say the push-ups. I think in the roping world, I've gotten known because I have people come up and go, how's the push-ups going? And it kind of puts the fear in kids when they first come here. Oh, my gosh, Clay's probably going to make me do push-ups.
It's more to make them think about what they're doing.
I look at push-ups, and in school had great relationships with all my coaches. But I never understood at that time in my life. It was never explained to me. I just thought I did wrong all the time. Mm-hmm. When they'd blow the whistle and say, get your ass on the line. Uh-huh. I tell people, if my high school basketball coach or football coach would have said, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to say something 3 times. The fourth time I say it, there's going to be a consequence. I'm not bigger than you. I'm not better than you. I'm not anything, any of that. But if they just would have said to me, me personally, I would have comprehended it better. The fourth time, there's going to be a consequence, and I'm going to make you run. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to make you do push-ups. And I tell everybody, first lesson we do out here, the fourth time I say, okay, set your rope down. I'm not bigger than you. I'm not better than you. This is nothing boastful. This is nothing overpowering. This is, I need to figure out a way to get your mind working. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the calf head. Don't worry about the rope. I need to see your hand closed all the way through your swing. Mm-hmm. Or I need to see you keep your weight on your front foot. And so when you don't, after the third time, there's going to be a consequence.
And it's never for missing.
Never.
That's right.
I don't care if you miss.
That's right.
You can miss 500 times in a row.
It's the fundamental that's mind over what your body. Have control of your body. Be conscious about what you're doing and think about it.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And everybody is so gung-ho focused on, they don't care if they did anything right riding their horse, anything right swinging their rope, anything, any part of that. It's end goal.
Yep. Did it go around the neck?
Did it go around the neck?
Yeah.
And so I tell them, we're gonna get down here and we're gonna bust 10 push-ups. Well, hey, let me tell you, that lesson day, 10 push-ups, 8 sets of kids that first one. Uh-huh. Buddy, I was wore out from. I did 80 push-ups that day.
Yeah.
I ain't done 80 push-ups, but so that's to get your mind working. Mm-hmm. I don't. And some kids can set out here, Sladen that's right out here, he can bust out push-ups and clap in between them. Mm-hmm. Dawson Appleton, one of the most trainable people I've ever helped. Coachable, if you want to use coachable. Dawson Appleton took 60 push-ups every time we tried something new. Uh-huh. 10 push-ups at a time. Hey, every time you do it wrong. By that 60th one, if it were falling back in your throw, mm-hmm. Hey, Dawson, if you fall back in your throw again, I want to see you stay to the front of the saddle all the way through till that slack's in your hand. You would watch that kid, and after 60 push-ups, he'd be up there at the front, and he would start to drift back, and he'd go, bull crap, my arms are tired. And he'd stand up and cut the throat. Uh-huh. And horses have great timing, everything. And then it was just set in stone. But we knew that, hey, almost everything we do, there's got to be a consequence. Mm-hmm. And I think in a lot of things, and I failed just like everybody, but I think one reason I've had success is I do hold myself accountable. Mm-hmm. And I think in this you have to. You have to hold yourself accountable for what your horses do, for what...
Especially if you're independent at your own business, because if you don't do it, who is going to?
Yes.
Because we don't have someone standing over there watching us all the time.
Yes, exactly.
So we have to be a good critique on ourselves and listen. In this life, the easiest person to fool is ourselves. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's a hard one to swallow.
Hey, and I'll admit, I've fooled myself a bunch.
You and I both.
And on a daily basis. Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Life is hard. It's them old timers that say it's funny to me. In my 40s now, a lot of the old sayings people used to, boy, they're starting to make sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And back when, back when I did it, well, that's, that old hickory stick. That's back when I learned.
Yeah.
And it evolves. It doesn't. I had a really good friend of mine the other day. I helped a boy with his roping, and I'm big on heels. God put heels on boots for a reason, and that's because your heel touches the stirrup. Mm-hmm. And to stand to the front of the saddle like we want to, if we stand on the balls of our feet, our center of balance is off. Mm-hmm. Our feet go forward, our butt goes back. I got to run my feet into, and And this guy was a very successful calf roper. And I ask him to this day, I'll show him a run and say, hey, could I have done anything different here? Or what could I have done? And I take advice from him. Well, I help this boy, and he calls me and he says, hey, I got one question for you. Why did you tell him to put his feet all the way in the stirrups? And I said, well, I have this deal that I can show you in person if you're on a horse. And you will go, ding, light bulb went off. Why in the world did I ever stand on the balls of my feet? Why didn't I use the arches of my feet? And I tried explaining it to him, and over the phone, he just didn't understand it. And so I told him, well, go to this kid, get on his horse, get him to show you, push on his chest, have him push on your chest. And I haven't heard back from him since, and I really want to get him. Next time I see him and my horse is there, I'm going to explain. Because I feel like one thing I've learned from you is everything we do is for a purpose. Mm-hmm. And the sooner we can figure that out in life, I want everybody to know why I did this on this horse. That way they don't have to go through the same thing. Mm-hmm. Or how to stay ahead of something. Mm-hmm. You know how it is riding some of the horses you do. Hey, if we don't stay ahead of this, it could go south in a hurry.
It could be a problem. Yeah.
And it can get away from us before we even know it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's part of. I was telling my wife yesterday, and I was telling a good friend of mine. We was having a conversation about some stuff, and I said, you're asking me for my opinion, but I might not be the best person to ask, because the subject he was asking on, he was trying to plan to set a deal up to help some people, because we just got back from the reservation in South Dakota. And I said, where my flaw is I'm too focused on being sure that it's helping them and not enabling them. And that's number one. And number two, that the help I'm giving is the best help the thing they most need. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of do it there a little bit, because my job when watching horses is not to just help in some way that's not at the root of the problem. My job is to get to the root. Yes. And sometimes it is, and more times than not, it's totally not where people think it's going to be.
Do you know how many times I've called you or I've rode with you? And I thought, how in hell beans does this have jack shit to do with me? Excuse my language. And within 3 or 4 days, ding, there it was on a horse.
Yeah.
And it was because you took it to the root.
Yeah.
You didn't take the masking tape and put over it.
Right.
You've helped me so much in the aspect of, hey, let's go 2 steps back every time.
Yeah.
Let's start at 2 steps back.
And then you got to find out what 2 steps is.
Yes.
Because some people think they're at the beginning.
Yes.
And that's where I say with horsemanship, the more advanced it gets, the more simpler it becomes.
Yes.
And that's reversed from everything else we do in life.
Yes.
We build a house, we start at the foundation, and it gets bigger.
Yes.
I mean, it'd be like if you had a house and it had problems in the structure. You can look in the walls all you want because the sheetrock's cracked, but really the foundation's settled.
Yes. Yes.
But people will put up a new wall, or first put up new sheetrock or paint it. It cracks there again. Put up a new wall. Well, that sheetrock's cracked again. Pretty soon, until you get down to the foundation, then you find out that the soil below that wasn't hard enough clay and rolled down enough, and so it settled.
So case in point in horse, I'm riding one right now that was a reiner. Mm-hmm. Then he was a heel horse. Mm-hmm. Now he's going to be a calf horse. Mm-hmm. I learned this from you on a reiner. You remember the Jack's Electric Spark? Mm-hmm. When I loped him around, rode him around, I thought, here we go, next one, next big thing. You come over. I get you to come over and ride him. And your first words were, hey, this is a nice horse. But his problem being a reject reiner, and I don't even want to call them rejects. He was a reiner that had a problem, had an issue. It's going to show up. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be in 6 months, but it's going to show up.
In the roping.
And if we don't find the root of that problem now and fix it or do our best to help it, it's going to show up. 2 years ago, Mindy and I bought a ready to go, or I think he was getting close. He was a futurity cutter. We've got where rarely now will we buy a reject. Because if you tell me, hey, this horse is going to be talented here, not as talented here, good here, 100% believe you. But you know how the horse market is. And you just don't know when you buy one. Well, went down, rode these horses, rode this Son of Metallic Cat out of a daughter of Dual Ray. Man, liked him. Felt good. He rode like a cutter, but and the guy told me, the guy and the lady, the owner and the trainer he was with told me after so long of cutting on him, he just doesn't want to go right. He just gets where he sticks and doesn't want to go right with the cow. Knowing that, well, guess what? The sled, man, he excels at it. We go to pin roping, and we're talking 60 days into it. We go to pin roping. Man, the first 20 days, golly, we're gaining. All of a sudden, we start sticking something out there to push them calves off the fence and make them go right. One of the hardest steps for a calf horse. Guess what? He won't go right. Well, luckily, we're not in a race that the cutters are. I knew that going into it, and it's just like the first time I felt it, a light bulb went off. Hey, they said he doesn't want to go right. Okay? They don't have the time in the cutting. We do. In the roping. We helped him with going right. That's and it wasn't an everyday deal, but the moment a cow stepped right, when he was hot or when other things could have been on his mind, moment a cow stepped right and he didn't want to go, guess what? We had a job to do. We found the root. We helped it. Now, it doesn't matter where a cow goes, he's in position. And that's one thing on buying one. You better trust on who you're buying them from. Would you agree? Because it's why we bought so many.
Sometimes you get bad information, and sometimes they're just ignorant and they don't understand. They don't know. So it's not really malicious bad information. It's just they just don't know.
Yes. And I feel so fortunate. All of them. There's a lot of people rely on you for information. I know there is people that's came up under you. People like me. I have the same thing, people that call and say, hey, why is this happening? And I may say something and it takes 3 or 4 days, or it may take 2 or 3 months for it to set in. But when they hit that, if they're willing to listen, your deal, I feel like when I ride with you or I call you, it's so far from what I wanted to hear because I want the right now fix.
Yeah.
And it's no different than the little boy that shows up roping the dummy. When the first year he showed up, we roped the dummy for 30 minutes, then we got on a horse and rope sled for 30 minutes. Well, the past year, all we've done's got on and roped live cattle. Well, when that fell apart, why didn't we go back to the dummy?
Yeah.
Or why don't we go back to the sled? It's funny, we spend one evening, a 2-hour lesson on the dummy on the ground, and the little boy never even doesn't have an arena, goes and ropes his butt off at the rodeo the next week. Mm-hmm. We got to the root of it by doing the basics or the fundamentals.
Good habit.
Yes.
Good
habit.
Good habits. Well, we're going to wind it up here. I sure appreciate you sitting down finally. We've tried to do this for a long time. It just never happened.
Yes.
And I actually had someone else I was going to go to today, but I ended up coming over here. And for the audience, Clay and I don't live that far from one another, and we talk pretty regularly. And we've already talked about having some more detailed information on some specific things, like specific things in the horse industry, whether it be having to do with calf horses or general horsemanship or whatever it might be. And if there's anything that anybody wants to hear about, be sure to leave a comment or, anything in the comments. Just comment on it, good, bad, or ugly, whatever. Just put something down or give us some suggestions. We'd be willing to expand on any topics that anybody wants.
Yes.
We have a lot of these conversations. Unfortunately, the best ones we have normally aren't recorded.
Yes.
And, it's not uncommon for us to have a 2-hour conversation on the phone. He might be going to a rodeo or whatever, and I may be at the house of an afternoon, whatever it might be. But so be sure to leave a comment on that and let us know. And then how can people get a hold of you on social media and stuff? What's the places they can?
It's C&M Performance Horses or Clay and Mindy Brown.
Is this Facebook?
On Facebook, yes.
Okay. What about any other place they can find you?
Phone. We have an Instagram. I believe it's Mindy does most of that.
Okay.
I was added to the Facebook because I got to looking on there.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean.
Oh yes.
And so for anybody listening that thinks joint Facebook accounts, you know what? Everybody needs a joint Facebook account.
Yeah.
But no, I hopefully we can get back together and we'll jot down some more in detail.
Yeah, because we will dive into whatever you guys want to hear. We started this with kind of his story, and then, of course, as all of our conversations, they always end up on horse training, and that's just kind of where most of them go. If I'm talking to people, I don't have a big circle, but the people that I talk to, normally it has to do with horses.
Yes,
or,
I'm the same way.
Something like that, but I love it, and I sure enjoy visiting about it, And like I said, Clay's a good friend of mine, been a friend now since we met when I impressed him with my riding skills in 2000 with a pair of tennis shoes. I mean, I literally couldn't ride a stick horse. And then I come back home, and it was really hard for anybody to even give me the time of day, and I don't really blame them. And I'm still learning. Sometimes still I don't know if I know what I'm doing, but I sure enjoy it. But thanks for sitting down with me, and I think your guys are about to start holding hands if we don't get them doing something. I think they found about everything they could possibly do to make you think they're busy.
Yes, I agree.
But we'll get back together sometime, and you guys check him out on Facebook, C&M Performance Horses.
Yes.
And like I said, be sure to leave a comment. Anything you guys want to hear about, any comment on the topics that we've already covered, be sure to just let us know. But anyway, until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Yep. Thank you.